I raised my little brother for 3 years, then discovered he was my fiancé's son, with my mom, so I exposed them online and secretly moved to Spain. You know how people say you can't make this stuff up? Well, buckle up because this is one of those stories that sounds like a bad TV drama, but was actually my life. I'm Chloe, 24 years old, and I thought I had it all figured out. Perfect fiancé, amazing mom, and the cutest little brother anyone could ask for. Yeah, that perfect life. It was built on a foundation of lies that would make your head spin. Mark and I had been together since we were practically kids, 17 and 18, young and stupid in love. He was everything you'd want in a guy. Handsome, funny, treated me like a princess. All my friends were jealous, always saying how lucky I was to have the whole package. And I felt lucky too. We'd been together for 7 years, survived college, moved in together after graduation, and even got engaged. We had this whole future mapped out since we were teenagers, marriage, kids, the white picket fence. We'd talk for hours about what our babies would look like, how many we wanted, what we'd name them between us. I already had our wedding Pinterest board filled to the brim. My mom and I were basically the real-life Lorelai and Rory from Gilmore Girls. It was always just us against the world after my dad died in an accident when I was little. She had me super young, an oopsie baby as she called it. So we were more like best friends than mother-daughter. She dated guys here and there, but nothing ever serious. At least, that's what I thought. About 4 years ago, Mom dropped a bombshell she was pregnant. At 42 years old. I mean, what are the odds, right? She was stressed out of her mind, worried about being an older mom. The whole 9 yards. But I stepped up because that's what you do for family. I told her we'd get through it together, just like we always had. And when my brother Ethan was born, I fell head over heels for that little guy. I helped raise him from day one, feeding, changing diapers, sleepless nights. I was basically his second mom, and I loved every second of it. Mark was always great with Ethan, too. We'd take him to the park for ice cream, swimming in the summer. Looking back, I guess he was extra attentive. But at the time, it just seemed like my amazing fiancé being his usual sweet self, loving my family as his own. He'd hold Ethan, play with him, buy him toys. Everyone commented on what a great dad he'd be someday. Oh, the irony. We were this happy little family. Mark, me, Mom, and Ethan, weekends together. Holidays, family dinners. I'd post pictures on Instagram of our perfect family and get all those heart eye emojis from friends. Relationship goals. They'd comment, if only they knew what was really going on behind the scenes. Everything came crashing down on a random Tuesday night. Mark was out with friends, and I was curled up on the couch, binge watching some Netflix series when my laptop died. Too lazy to get my charger from the bedroom. I grabbed Mark's iPad instead. I knew his password. We had that kind of relationship where nothing was off limits. Or so I thought. The iPad hadn't been used in a while, so when it logged in, a bunch of messages started pinging like crazy. That got my attention. I wasn't snooping, I swear. I was just curious about all these notifications. And that's when I saw them. Messages between Mark and some number I didn't recognize at first, but something about the way they were talking felt familiar. I grabbed my phone, pulled up my mom's contact, and compared the numbers. My heart stopped. It was her. The messages were recent, but they were talking about something that had been going on for years. About feeling guilty. About how Ethan should know the truth. About how unfair it was that he was growing up without his dad. I felt like I was going to throw up. I scrolled further and found photos of my mom pregnant. Ethan as a newborn. Pictures of him growing up. All saved in a secret album on my fiancé's iPad. I must have sat there for hours, just staring at the screen, reading every single message, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. My whole life was a lie. The man I was going to marry, the man I'd been with since I was a teenager, had slept with my mother multiple times. And my little brother, the child I had helped raise, loved with all my heart, was actually his son. Their son. When Mark came home around 11:30 that night, I was still sitting on the couch, clutching the iPad like it was a bomb. He walked in with that easy smile I used to love, asking how my night was. I just handed him the iPad with their conversation open on the screen. I watched as his face went pale. Sheet white. He'd seen a ghost. Something is when I knew it was all true. Every horrible suspicion racing through my mind was confirmed by the look on his face. What the actual fuck? Mark. I remember my voice shaking as I stood up. When, how, why, just start talking. He tried to play dumb at first, like there was some reasonable explanation, but he couldn't even look at me. Finally, he just collapsed onto the couch and started talking. Turns out while I was away on a girls' trip 4 years ago, Mark and my mom had dinner together. Nothing unusual about that. He was practically part of the family. But somehow one thing led to another, and they ended up sleeping together. He couldn't even explain how it happened. Just that it did. And then they did it again 2 or 3 more times, using the excuse of meeting up to discuss how to tell me, like they were ever actually planning to tell me. When my mom got pregnant, they stopped sleeping together, but still didn't tell anyone. Because Mark couldn't lose me and my mom couldn't lose her daughter. So they just decided to live with this massive lie, let me help raise Ethan, thinking he was my half-brother when he was actually my fiancé's son, my mom's grandson, my stepson if I had married Mark. It was so twisted I couldn't even wrap my head around it. At those times, we talked about having kids of our own, all those dreams we shared since we were teenagers. And all along, he already had a child. With my mother, I was physically sick. I ran to the bathroom and threw up, while Mark just stood there watching like some lost puppy. Path, I'm sorry, Chloe. I never meant for this to happen. He kept saying over and over. But sorry wasn't going to cut it. Not this time. Not for this betrayal. That night, I packed the bags and left. I couldn't even look at him. I went straight with my friend Jessica and just cried for days. I felt like my whole world had been turned upside down. Everything I thought I knew about my life was a lie. The man I loved was a liar. The mom I idolized was a cheater. And my sweet little brother, well, the brother I adored, was actually living proof of the ultimate betrayal. My fiancé, and my mother, I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't function. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw their messages, their pictures, their lies playing on a loop in my head. After about a week of wallowing in self-pity, I knew I had to do something. I couldn't just hide away forever. I had to confront my mom too, so I went over to her house under the pretense of picking up some things I needed. She made us tea like everything was normal. Asked how Mark was doing. Like she didn't already know exactly how he was doing. Because she'd been texting him behind my back. Years? I know, Mom, I said, finally, after sitting through excruciating small talk. Her face went pale, just like Mark's had. She tried deny it at first. Know what, sweetie, you're not making any sense. But I pulled out my phone, showed her the screenshots I'd taken of the messages. And that was when she broke down crying. Not because she was sorry, but because she got caught. It just happened, Chloe. We were both lonely. You were gone on that trip. It was a mistake. She sobbed, but 4 times doesn't seem like a mistake to me. I said, it seems like a choice. A really, really fucked up choice. The worst part was when she tried to justify it. Mark reminds me so much of your father, she said, which was just, no, I've seen pictures of my dad, and Mark doesn't even look that much like him. Besides, what kind of excuse is that? Anyway, I missed your dad, and Mark was there. Like that makes it okay to sleep with your daughter's boyfriend, to get pregnant, to lie about it for years. I walked out that day and never looked back. I told her never to contact me again. I told Mark the engagement was off. I changed my phone number. I blocked them both on social media. I basically cut them out of my life completely. But there was still Ethan, my sweet, innocent little brother who didn't ask for any of this. I loved him so much, but every time I looked at him, I saw Mark. I saw my mom. I saw their betrayal. It was too painful. My friends were divided on what I should do. Some thought I should try to maintain a relationship with Ethan since he was just a baby in all this. Others understood why I couldn't bear to see him. Jessica was amazing through it all. Let me stay with her as long as I needed. Brought me ice cream and wine and let me cry on her shoulder for hours. But even she couldn't fully understand what I was going through. About 2 weeks after I found out, Mark tracked me down. Near my office after work, I almost ran when I saw him standing there. But something made me stay. Maybe I needed closure. Or maybe I just wanted to see him suffer one more time. He looked terrible. Dark circles under his eyes. Hair a mess. Not the put-together guy I'd fallen in love with. Can we talk, Chloe, please? He asked. His voice was raw, I agreed, but refused to go anywhere with him. I wasn't about to sit across a table from him, like we were old friends having coffee. We stood right there on the street, and he apologized over and over and over. He said he loved me, that he still loved me, that he'd do anything to make it right. He even offered to go to therapy, individual or couples. Whatever I wanted. I'm trying to get custody, Chloe, he said finally. Of Ethan, I want to be his dad. Like that was supposed to make me feel better. Like I should be happy that after lying to me for years, he was finally stepping up to be a father to the son he had with my mother. I asked him if he'd cheated before. He said no. I asked if he still had feelings for my mom. He hesitated just a little too long before saying no. I asked if they had been in contact since I found out he admitted they had, but only about Ethan. Like that made it better. The whole conversation left me feeling hollow and angry. Mark seemed to think that since he was taking responsibility, now everything should be fine. Like his willingness to finally be a father to Ethan should erase years of lies and betrayal. I walked away from that conversation more determined than ever to cut ties completely. That's when I decided I needed to expose them. Not just for revenge, but because I couldn't stand the thought of them continuing to play happy families while I was left to pick up the pieces of my shattered life. I posted everything on our family Facebook group first. I included screenshots of the messages, pictures of them together. Everything I had saved as proof. The response was immediate and overwhelming. My phone blew up with messages from family members. Some were supportive, others were in shock. A few even accused me of making it all up. My grandparents especially couldn't believe it. They thought my mom could do no wrong. But I had proof and I wasn't backing down. Then I posted on Instagram. For all our friends to see, I tagged Mark in it. I tagged my mom. I made sure everyone knew what they had done. The reactions were mixed. Some friends were completely on my side. Others thought I was overreacting. A few even suggested that I should forgive and forget for Ethan's sake. Like I could just pretend my fiancé hadn't slept with my mother and fathered a child with her. Mark deleted all his social media after my post went viral. His parents called me. They were kind, but it was clear they were standing by their son. They even tried to give me updates about the custody situation. Like I cared, I told them in no uncertain terms that I wanted nothing to do with any of them anymore. My mom sent me a long text from some random number after I blocked her. She called me cruel, said she didn't raise me to air our dirty laundry in public. Like she was the victim in all this. She even had the nerve to say that Mark reminded her of my dad and she was just grieving. Like that excused what she did. The aftermath was a nightmare. I lost friends. Family members took sides. People I had known for years were looking at me differently. Some with pity, others with judgment. I couldn't go anywhere without someone whispering about me. I felt like I had no control over my own life anymore. That's when I knew I had to get out completely. I started researching opportunities abroad. I had always wanted to travel, see the world, and now I had nothing tying me down. No fiancé, no family, no real reason to stay. I found a program in Spain that was looking for au pairs. It seemed perfect. A fresh start, a new country, a chance to escape all this drama. The application process was intense, but I was determined I needed this. I needed to get away. I needed to start over somewhere where no one knew my story, where I wasn't the girl whose fiancé slept with her mom, where I could just be Chloe. About a month after everything blew up, I got the news I had been accepted into the program. I would be moving to Spain in just a few weeks, to work for a family near Barcelona, taking care of their kids, learning Spanish, experiencing a new culture. It was terrifying and exhilarating all at once. I told only a handful of people about my plans. Jessica was sad to see me go, but understood why I had to leave. My cousin, who was more like a sister to me, was devastated but supportive. I didn't tell Mark or my mom. I didn't owe them anything. The weeks leading up to my departure were a blur of packing, planning, and saying goodbye. I tried to see Ethan one more time, but I couldn't go through with it. It hurt too much, knowing what I knew now, seeing his little face, and seeing Mark and his features. It was more than I could bear. I did have one more conversation with my mom, though. She found out about my plan somehow and called me crying, begging me not to go, saying we could work things out. That family was more important than anything else. I almost laughed in her face. Where was all this family first talk when she was sleeping with my fiancé? I told her I was done, that I needed to start fresh, that I couldn't be around her or Mark or even Ethan without being reminded of their betrayal. She tried to guilt me, saying Ethan would miss me, that he needed his big sister. But I couldn't be that person for him anymore, not after everything. Moving day came faster than I expected. Jessica helped me get to the airport. We cried, hugged, and promised to stay in touch. As I boarded that plane, I felt a mix of emotions: sadness for what I was leaving behind, fear for what I was getting into, but mostly relief. Relief that I was finally free, free from the lies, free from the betrayal, free from the constant reminders of what they had done to me. Spain was everything I had hoped for, and more. The family I worked for was kind and welcoming. The children were adorable. Barcelona was beautiful. I started learning Spanish and exploring the city. I was finally able to breathe again, to be myself without the weight of my past dragging me down. Mark tried to contact me a few times, emails from different accounts, messages through mutual friends. I ignored them all. I heard through the grapevine that he did get partial custody of Ethan, that he was trying to be a dad to him, that my mom was involved somehow. I didn't want to know the details. I was done with all of them. Sometimes I wonder about Ethan. If he's happy, if he's being taken care of, if he'll ever know the truth about how he came to be. I hope he has a good life, a happy life. He deserves that. At least he never asked for any of this. As for me, I'm building a new life here in Spain. I'm making new friends, learning new things, discovering who I am without all the baggage from my past. Do I miss my old life? Sometimes I miss the simplicity of it all before I knew the truth, before everything fell apart. But I wouldn't go back, not for anything. I still talk to Jessica almost every day. She keeps me updated on what's happening back home. Apparently, Mark and my mom aren't together anymore. Big surprise, they're trying to co-parent Ethan, which is probably for the best, I guess. Good for them. I hope they're happy together or apart, whatever. I don't really care anymore. My mom still tries to reach out, occasionally holidays. Mostly I never respond. Some people might think that's cruel, that I should forgive her, that family is everything. But those people don't know what it's like to have your whole world turned upside down by the two people you trusted most. So here I am in Spain, starting over, building a new life. It's not easy. Some days are harder than others, but I'm free from the lies, free from the betrayal, free from the toxic mess that was my old life. And for the first time in a long time, I feel like I can finally breathe, like I can finally be me, whoever that is now. I don't know what the future holds. Maybe I'll stay in Spain forever. Maybe I'll move somewhere else eventually. All I know is that I'm done looking back. I'm done letting their betrayal define me. I'm ready to move forward, to create a new story for myself, one that doesn't include them, one that's all mine.